And we are live.
Okay, this is Senate Appropriations, February 20th. We're going through the fiscal year 26 budget. Now we're going to talk with Department of Liquor and Lottery. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Wendy Knight. I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Liquor and Lottery. Nice to be back. I'm going to start, if it suits the chair, with the memo asking for us to talk a little bit about what our mission is and the people we serve and our priority programs. So we have a dual mission at the department. We obviously sell products that generate revenue for the state. So the sales of the liquor, distilled spirits, go to the general fund, and the profits of the lottery go to the ed fund. The sports wagering revenue share goes to the general fund. The other important component, probably more important component of our mission, is the responsibility aspect of it in the public safety. So we're charged with, a regulatory framework, selling products that generate revenue for the state, but we do that in a responsible way. And we have messaging around responsibility. We're not in the business of promoting the consumption of alcohol. We don't promote, buying lottery tickets. We basically let people know where the products are, how much they are, and what they are. Who do we serve? So we serve people in the state of Vermont that are of age. So that would be lottery players 18 and above, and consumers of distilled spirits that are 21 and above. Clearly on the liquor side, we also see that we have a huge out-of-state presence in Vermont, right? Vermont is a tourist economy. If you've seen the latest study from the Vermont Department of Tourism and Marketing, $4 billion of out-of-state money came in from visitors. And
they were here yesterday.
Oh, great, good. Well, I've been talking about this a lot because I think it really is it's a really interesting lens into the work we do, because not only are we serving the Vermonters that are interested in purchasing alcohol, but we're serving the 15 million visitors, or a subset of those visitors, who come to Vermont and want an experience. They want to go to a hotel or a bar or a restaurant, and often alcohol is a component of their dining experience. And so the other, business group customer that we serve on the liquor side would be the bars and the restaurants and the hotels, right? So if you're in Vermont, control state, you need to purchase your alcohol from 802 Spirit Store, and that includes the on-premise licensees as well. And so we focus a lot on how to support those on-premise licensees. We had this discussion before about how much more revenue comes in when the distilled spirits is sold at a bar or restaurant or on-premise. And so clearly those are our customers as well. And then on the lottery side, we serve our agents. So the 591 lottery agents, they're a business partner. And so they sell the product for us and earn a commission. And then the lottery players would be who we're serving. I would also say it's the ed fund, right? Like, even though our $35 million that goes to the ed fund is a drop in the bucket, right? It's less than 2%. I guess that, we think of that being, one of our customers, whoever benefits from the ed fund, students, teachers, schools, communities. And then again, on the sports wagering, the customers that we're serving, if you will, would be the players that are participating in sports wagering. Again, on the sports wagering side, we're not running that business. We're truly a regulatory body. We let the operators participate in the state of Vermont, and we get a share of that. And I think we talked about this a little bit before. You want me to talk about, need the glasses again, you want me to talk about some of the priorities and issues. So what we're seeing on the alcohol side is that nationally, alcohol consumption is declining. Therefore, alcohol sales are declining. That is something that we've seen for over a year now, and I've been talking about it. There's various reasons why alcohol consumption is declining. And we've, I think, talked about it before. There's the legalization of marijuana. In states that have legalized marijuana, alcohol sales are down. the younger demographic is consuming less alcohol. You have much higher quality of non-alcoholic products. That category is growing by leaps and bounds. All of that is, I mean, that's good, right? People are being more intentional, and sometimes they drink, sometimes they don't. All good. It's just the reality. So from our perspective, I have been advocating that the state as a whole should just expect less revenue coming from liquor control.
In this document, when you mentioned liquor and lottery agents, those are the 802 liquor stores, or at least that's the way I think of it.
So we have lottery agents who we contract with to sell lottery products. There's about 581 of those. And then on the 802 Spirits side, we contract with stores. They're usually second-class licenses. Oftentimes, we have a lottery agent is a liquor agent. So if you're at a convenience store, that convenience store might be a lottery agent, and they might also be an 802 Spirits agent.
So they talked about workforce causing them to reduce hours.
Correct, yeah.
That's more, not the convenience stores, but
It's
maybe it's
all of the stores, right, all of the stores. So that's some of the issues in terms of the workforce challenges. And we've seen this over, the last several years, but we're seeing, for the bars and the restaurants that have workforce shortages, they have to reduce their hours because they can't find the workers. We were up at Capitol for a day in the Northeast Kingdom, and we heard from several of the licensees that they were having trouble finding the workforce. So what happens is the owners will have to pitch in, and they can't, manage the business because they're literally on the floor, and they have to reduce hours. So we've seen that in the retail locations as well, across the board. I think you're probably hearing that as well. It's been a challenge to find workers, particularly when you talk about these service industries. A retail store, it's not a high paying job, right? So you're finding someone that's reliable. If you're a seller or a server of alcohol, you're required to take a certification. And so if you're working at a convenience store, you're hiring workers, they need to take and pass the certification as well. The other issue on the liquor side is that we have an old small warehouse that constrains our ability to purchase alcohol at a discount because we can't buy it in bulk. We don't have the same model that New Hampshire has, for example, where they have these huge state-owned and run liquor establishments. New Hampshire is a very different animal. They're much larger than, the population is much bigger than the state, and they, cater to a lot of their people that are driving through New Hampshire.
How is it they can have those stores on the highway? Like the
great big one.
They're toll roads, and they were originally paid for by the
I was just
state.
trying to think if it was
Our
all on the toll
interstates
road
were
part.
paid for with money that came from the feds. And when we took the money originally, we guaranteed that we wouldn't have commercial business in that. What, if we decided we were gonna do that, we would have to pay back the federal government for the money that we originally took with interest.
I guess when I see them, I think I'm not on the toll road, but you're getting on the toll road at that point.
If you go on 93, you immediately, after you get past the toll,
Right,
when
that's
you're
when you
coming
see
from
the
the
store.
south from Massachusetts, the first thing you run into is the liquor store.
Same when you're heading south.
Pardon me?
Same when you're heading south. from
Yeah,
Vermont.
yeah.
As soon as you get onto the
Yeah.
toll road part, the first thing you see is.
Yes,
liquor.
but
Sounds like
it is when you're coming from,
Sounds like a
but
field
when
trip.
it's really noticeable when you're coming from Massachusetts.
Back to Vermont.
No, but back to, we've looked at all of that from a transportation standpoint,
Yeah.
because,
Yeah,
people ask, would we put toll roads?
right, or can you put them in visitor center, et cetera.
Or could, yes, or
Yeah.
could we have all kinds of, what kind of businesses can we have? And it's very limited.
Right.
You can't
Well-
charge for charging your electric vehicle.
Yes.
What we are doing, though, we have an excellent data analyst, and he has put together a retail sales network analysis that allows us to identify the locations that have high traffic patterns from out of state and where we don't have a main liquor store. And so we can look at those areas to, again, capitalize on the visitors that are coming here, wanting to participate in the consumption of alcohol. Maybe they're staying at an Airbnb or they're going to visit friends. So we're trying to locate some of these smaller 802 Spirits stores in areas where they will be frequented by those tourists that come in. So that's one of the strategic sort of initiatives we're doing. On the lottery side, the lottery revenues are all jackpot driven, right? So if there's a high Powerball, that will drive up sales of not just the Powerball, but all of the other tickets. And we see that consistently in the data. And so it's always hard to predict, but we're coming up with our revenue projections. We have all these internal discussions because you can see last year's trend and you can think about what the market is going to be, but if it's dependent on, a Powerball jackpot, for example, we have no way of knowing what that is or planning for that. What's happening this year is we're launching a $30 ticket that will eventually replace the $20 ticket, $25 ticket, and we've seen in other states that have lotteries, it's a good model, right? So it's upgrading a little bit, and so we expect some additional revenues to come in. Oh, yeah, we have a $1 ticket, a $2 ticket, a $5, $10, $20, $25, and now we'll have a $30 ticket. Because we'll eventually replace the $25 ticket. Okay, so those are some of the issues that I talked about. We don't have any new, yeah, sorry.
Quick question.
Yeah.
The monies from lottery, everyone approaches me and asks me, I thought, you said $35 million goes to education. I thought everything from the proceeds from the lottery goes to education.
They do, yep.
So we sell $35 million in tickets?
No, we sell $168 million in tickets. It's the profits that go to the ed fund.
Like 35 cents on every dollar.
So what you do is you take the sales of the lottery tickets,
yeah,
right?
Is that in this presentation someplace or?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, I can give you that information.
That would be great.
It's in a new legislator packet that we did, but yes. So last year, for example, FY24, I'll just send this to you. We had $168 million in lottery sales, tickets.
Yep.
Then you have to take out the winning payouts, right? So people buy tickets and some people win. You take that out, and then you take out the operational cost, and then whatever the profit is, that goes to the ed fund, and that was $35 million in FY24. That $35 million only represents 1.8% of the ed fund. So people conflate the idea that, 100% of the profits of the lottery go to the ed fund. They do, but they only make up 1.8% of the ed fund. So it's literally a drop in the bucket.
The total sales was 168, is that what
168 million in change, I'm just rounding up.
Right.
So 133 million was paid in operating costs and payouts.
Yes, and I can give you the breakdown for that.
I'm not questioning it.
No,
Some
I
people
didn't.
do.
No, it's all there, we're transparent. So.
People probably think when they buy a ticket for $2 goes to the ed fund, but really only.
Exactly, so.
60 cents.
60 cents.
So I'm back to we have no new initiatives in our budget that we're proposing. I talked about the significant challenges.
So on there was the theft, is that theft happening statewide or is it?
Yes.
Conditional?
I mean, it's happening across the board. So we have people that are going in and stealing money, stealing lottery tickets, stealing alcohol. We've just heard a reported in theft. A lot of it is in Burlington, but we have had it in Chittenden County. But we have had stores report theft. And so we have a team of law enforcement investigators, and when that happens, they investigate. I'm not going to speculate as to the reason for that.
Sure.
I'm just presenting the data. And So what we do, we talk about innovation. I think you wanted to talk about, sort of our benchmarks. And so obviously we're looking at a benchmark of the sales, right? In general, if you're running a business, you want to see those sales revenue go up. There are some external pressures that we were talking about as to why they are not necessarily going to go up. And you see that this year we basically are projecting a flat sales for alcohol. We are always looking at innovating within the department. When you run businesses, you have to think about how to be more cost effective. So that's a huge component. If the sales are flat or declining, then we need to maximize our revenue by making sure that we have our costs under control and we're not spending more than we absolutely need to. If I could take one moment, speaking of cost containment, because that's the financial team.
Okay.
So Lisa Allard is retiring at the end of March. She's worked for the state for 17 years. She's our current director of finance. And I don't know, I bet your hands are up. And then Tracy Badu, we've hired her as our new financial director, and she's been working alongside Lisa, and she will take over permanently when Lisa retires at the end of March.
Great.
So hi, ladies. Tracy, there you are. Yay. So you'll see Tracy with me moving forward.
Hi, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thanks for being here.
So we're focusing on, the fundamentals of trying to find out some innovative revenue generation ideas, but really focusing on kind of the cost containment aspect of it. When we get into the ups and downs, you'll see that IT plays a big role in the department because of managing the businesses, particularly on the liquor side. So if you want me to go into the ups and downs, I am happy to do that, or
Yeah. So is that 167 for the sales force? And
yes.
so,
Yeah. So if you look at the ups and downs, most of the activity you're going to see on the all other category, right? So that is the enterprise funds, it's the sports wagering enterprise fund, liquor control, Vermont Lottery. And this year, Finance and Management asked us to put the tobacco settlement fund in that. And so that is something that we have some proceeds of that to pay for our education. On the liquor side, we require people to take certifications. So the special, going back to the I want to say west side, but it's the left side. You can tell I live on which side of the state I live on. I think of west is left, right? Anyway, so that is our surplus property. We manage our own fleets of not BGS, and then we have pallets. And so when we sell those, it goes into the surplus property funds. And then we have a relationship with the National Alcohol Beverage Control Association. So all the control states participate in what we call NABCA. And anytime they have annual conferences and quarterly conferences, and when the staff goes to that, NABCA reimburses all the regulators for attending. And so that's part of that special fund, is receiving those reimbursements. The interdepartmental transfer, we have a contract with AOT to do drug recognition. We have a Department of Health MOU to do tobacco compliance. And then we have a MOU with the Cannabis Control Board to do education and compliance. And so that's the 70,000 interdepartmental transfer. So I'm gonna just get to the heart of the matter, which is our enterprise funds, and just kind of walk you down through this. You'll see that the top personnel services, those are salary and wages and health insurance and childcare contribution, FMLA leave. That's things that we really don't have.
You don't have to go over all of them. So
no control over that, really. Other than we really try to pay people work in the department really hard, and we try to pay them what they're worth. So I will say that some of that might seem more, but is 80 people running a $280,000 or $280 million enterprise.
what's the 365 hardware and support contract.
Yes, so that's what I'm gonna walk you through right now. So the contract is, so D365, that's the back end inventory of all of the alcohol. So that is, we take the inventory in, we manage the inventory, it goes out to the stores or managing inventory, and that's the point of sale. So that's the system by which all of the alcohol sales run through. And so when you see here under contracted services, MOC change, that's major object code change. And so we're moving those from a contracted service, we're moving it down to an operating expense. You'll see on the lottery website upgrade, we actually save money. Yep, and on the D365 hardware, the 699,000, that's an upgrade. And the reason that's an upgrade is because historically we had one contract with a vendor that included the hardware, the point of sale hardware. If you go into a liquor store, it's a separate payment, right? That's the hardware. And then there's the software, the D365 behind it. And we weren't getting the service that we needed for the hardware support. So we have 5 liquor control coordinators. They are managing, a portfolio of 802 spirit stores. We would have an issue where the hardware would malfunction, it stopped working. And so our team, we're not IT people, like we weren't getting, because the hardware component was a subcontractor to the software vendor, it was not working. And so we separated out the contracts. We had one contract for the software, and that's what ADS manages for us. And then we have one contract for the hardware, and that we manage ourselves so that we can ensure that we have the service that we need. As a result of moving those into 2 separate contracts, you get one vendor that applies to the bid, and so you end up sometimes with, unfortunately, higher cost than you would like. And that's what happened on that.
Just on that, for those lines, what is MOC?
That's a major object code change. So what it's basically doing is you're moving it from the contracted service, because originally it was a contract and now it's operating.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
You'll see those 2 MOCs down below.
Yeah.
Gotcha, yep.
So it moves from contracted service to
I
operating
see.
expenses.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So then we move down to operating cost. I want to focus on the core issues of the increases. ADS development that's the B2B system project cost. So this was last year's initiative. This project should have launched, last year, right? So what happened, this is meant to be for the on-premise licensees, the bars and the restaurants, an ability to purchase their alcohol from us in a much more efficient way. Right now, they have to walk into an 802 spirit store, or they call their order. They're purchasing it just like we are as walk-in customers. Not efficient, not a business-friendly way of doing things at all. So we set up this B2B website. We're launching it in this spring. And so it will allow the on-premise licensees to go in, just like an Amazon account, see what the inventory is, what they need, just like, you can buy again with any of those online shopping, they can do that. If they're out of a product, out of stock, it will show 3 alternatives. They make their order and then they purchase it, not online yet, but they, have the order and then they go pick it up. And that is what we are launching in the spring.
You don't do any deliveries?
No.
Even to the stores? They go to your warehouse and pick it up?
No. The bars and the restaurants and that I was talking about the relationship between the bars and restaurants. Yeah. Yes, of course, the state delivers alcohol from the warehouse to the 802 spirit store.
But the restaurants have to go to the 802 store.
Correct. They have to go pick it up. Yeah. So what we discovered after.
You don't want to deliver to the restaurant?
I think that's something maybe the licensees have asked about, yeah. There's a lot of rules and regulations around alcohol.
And probably the stores probably don't want you to start selling it directly.
Yeah, because we wouldn't sell it to the bars and restaurants directly. The model is through a
Right,
native
yeah.
spirit store. They get the commission.
Right.
So the reason why you see $1.8 million more is because as we sign the contract, we're working on launching this B2B. You have these initial kind of meetings with the Provi is the vendor, ADS, right, is our support for IT, and then DLL. And as we were getting into the discovery phase and the, deliverables and the phases, ADS helped us discover that the D365 platform, the main inventory system, has not been upgraded in 7 years. And if we were going to interface one program, Provi, B2B website, wasn't going to interface, and I'm totally doing layman's terms here,
Right,
because
sure,
that's
sure.
all I can do with this, right? So one network and one system can't function with the other, right? So in order for us to be able to do what we need the B2B website to do, very fundamental stuff we're talking about that's going to help the bars and the restaurants and hotels tremendously. The biggest complaint we have right now is the way we are set up to support the bars and the restaurants. So this will help that tremendously. All your constituents that are bar, restaurants, and hotels will absolutely love this because it will really help them be more efficient in terms of purchasing. So we discovered that in order for this to happen, that we need to have happen, they need to upgrade the D365. So that's why you see an additional 1.8 million is because all that is going into upgrading D365 so that it can work with the B2B. Now, the reason why that's so important is because what we need to do with the B2B website is evolve it. So right now it's just an ordering system, but we need to make it a payment system, right? Like maybe it becomes a delivery system. The next project is the B2C. Right now as a consumer, you want to be able to not order directly from the department, but go online, place an order and go pick it up at a store or see what's available. Like there is no searchable website right now. So people have no idea what's available, where it's available, and how much, correct, or walk into the store.
Senator Lyon,
I'm good. You answered my question.
and the ADS, SLA,
Oh.
so you have the support,
Yes,
and then you have
so-
the SLA Salesforce
yes,
separate. Are
so-
they really,
They're two different things. So the Salesforce is our online licensing portal. The Salesforce is again another name of a platform. And when, so we launched our online sales, our online licensing portal, that's what the Salesforce is, maybe 3 years ago. And this is allowing the licensees to actually, much like we now allow with DMV, you go get a license, pay online and get it, right? Prior to that, people had to fill out hand paper, a check, and they would either mail it to us or literally deliver it. I remember when I first started at the department, I had people from my community, oh, I have this check for a license, do you mind taking it up and dropping it off? That's how antiquated it was. So the online licensing portal solved a lot of issues. We went from, 8 weeks for processing to 8 days. So when this was set up, also during COVID, there were a lot more state departments and agencies that were making things available online, right? So there was this idea that now we were going to, you didn't have to come in and make it online. Well, as it turns out, apparently, more of the departments and agencies stopped using Salesforce, they're using other programs or whatever, so you don't have the economy of scale. It sounds like DLL is one of the few remaining departments that's using Salesforce, and so the login fees have per user have gone up because there's fewer users.
okay.
The licensing fee also went up. So we were given that nice increase of 167,000, not anticipating that. And then the final one is the ADS support contract increases. That's the $440,000. That's part of what I talked about for the 699 is that's the point of sale. We have a point of sale hardware contract, and then we have the support software.
But you're paying ADS, you're paying a contract, and ADS is just supporting you in
No,
the
I think
contracting.
so I think that, Lisa, can you, the D365, yeah, that's the increase for the contract for the software, sorry, this is specific cost increase as a result of dividing those contracts. ADS manages the software contract for D365, and that's gone up.
Yes, that's accurate, Commissioner Knight, and it is paid to ADS who holds the contract.
Okay. But it's not related to your uses of ADS services, it's just that they're doing your D365 contract.
Yeah, they
So
manage
pass
that
through.
contract, yeah.
Okay. That's helpful. So you talked about your warehouse being too small, but you're using less of you had an annex and then you're not using that?
Yeah, the annex, got, flood damage. It was a lease through A&R, and then we did an MOU with A&R. The team is managing, managing as best they can. I mean, it's crowded, but they are an amazing team, and it's just inhibits our ability to, grow and be more efficient. So if you're working in a space that is very, very tall, you have cases that are like this, and you have to use picking machines, and, it's just not an operational, efficient organization, but
Maybe something in the future.
that's something we've been looking at and talking about. We had an RFR that went out. The problem we have right now, of course, is everything is more expensive. And we know that costs for construction in particular have gone up in the last couple of years. So we're at a moment where might not be the time to move forward with that.
And then on page 4, you have some language change, but it says FY25 big bill. But then it does say fiscal year 26.
Fiscal year
this
26.
is changing liquor control board to liquor control fund.
Yes, because I think right now the language says liquor control board, Lisa, and we're changing it. It should be liquor control fund.
Okay.
Yes, that's accurate. And if you look at the explanation on the bottom of the page, it describes why we're changing it. Liquor control fund does not have receipts. It's the liquor control board does not have receipts. The liquor control fund has the receipts.
Okay, that makes sense. I was just confused by the FY25 heading there.
Yeah, I don't know. I
For the
see
VA.
pay act appropriations
Oh,
fiscal
it's
year
in the VA.
2020, yeah.
That language changes in the VA? You already talked to us maybe then. Although I don't remember talking
I
about
don't
it when
remember
you were
talking about it
here.
either.
Yeah,
So that's the only language change request that we have.
okay. Well, it looks like we put it in the VA, so we already have that figured out. Okay, anything else? And everything else is just
What I have, yeah,
endless pages of the details.
right.
Okay. Any other questions for Commissioner Knight? Okay, thank you for your
Great.
time again.
Very welcome. Nice to see you all. I will send you this. I'll send you this.
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
In fact, I'll just send you the whole thing. I mean, it was meant for freshman legislators, but it's an overview of the department. I'll
So
send
we
it.
can adjourn.